Okay, so now we are going to start bundle 2 of module 11, and question number 1 is which expression is equivalent to 6x plus 5x plus 4y? Okay, let's understand every single word of it. What is the difference between expression and equation? First point is this. Expression is like always you see here there is no equal to sign, right? So it's an expression that okay 6x plus 5x plus 4y, nothing else. It's not equal to anything. So that is an expression. But if you do it like this, some value, it may be 0, it may be anything. Now you have equal to sign. So this is an equation. This is the difference between expression and equation. Now, next point. You can solve the equation, or you can solve the equation, but you cannot solve the expression. Expression can only be simplified. Expressions cannot be solved because there is no equal to sign, right? What will you solve? First point clear, the difference between equation and expression. Concept number 1 is over. Now, concept number 2 is like 6x plus 5x plus 4y. Now this has x and this has x and this has y. So like terms are added. Now what do you mean by like terms? When every unit is same. When I say unit, let me make it clear more. Suppose you have 4 apples plus 5 apples, right? So you can call, okay, 9 apples, correct? So you can add apple and apple. Similarly, if you have 4 apples plus 5 bananas, right, this is equal to what? You can say 9 fruits, okay, but units are not same. You can say 9 edible items, or you can say 9 edible things you can eat raw. So it's not clear, right? So these are not the like terms. So in maths, this apple and apple thing is actually the like term thing, right? You cannot equate them, you cannot add them. Similarly, if you have 4x plus 5y, you cannot add them because one of them is apple and another of them is banana. But if you have 4x plus 5x, yes, you can imagine them as apples. 4 apples plus 5 apples are actually 9 apples. So that is the skill which is tested here, that how you find the like terms and solve it. Now let's say x are apples and y are bananas. So there are 6 apples plus 5 apples. So how many apples? 11 apples. And 4y. So that means 4 bananas. We cannot solve it further, right? Okay, so C is the right option. Perfect. Now question number 2 is about data. To study, again that is a word problem, so let's try to understand actually what data is given here. To study the characteristics of a sea stars in a group of tide pools, uh, sorry to say I said again because whenever I explain a word problem, I always say it's not difficult. It's just sometimes too much data or too much words given in a question. So try to try to find actually what is being asked or what information is being given in this question. So let's see. To study the characteristics of sea stars in a group of tide pools, researchers measures the diameter of sea stars with the tide pools. Now, as you can see, there is only one data, right? Diameters. Diameters of sea stars. So this is 16 is the diameter for these many sea stars. 17 is the diameters of these many sea stars. So let's say 16 is the diameter for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 sea stars, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4. 17 is of 4. 18 diameter radius is of 18 diameter is of 1. 19 is of 2 and 20 is of 3. Let's see what is asked. Based on the dot plot, how many sea stars had a diameter to the nearest inch of 16 inches? Okay, so simply you have to read the data. 16 inches is the diameter for 6 sea stars. Let's see. Yes. So B is the right option, right? I hope you got both the questions. Question number 3. A rectangle has a length of 56 inches and a width of 28 inches. What is the area in square inches of the rectangle? First of all, let me tell you, if you are preparing for SCT, always a list of formulas is given after the instructions, right? So you do not need to memorize the formulas. And if you see that area is equal to length times width, okay? Now the length is 56 inches and width is 28 inches. So number will be multiplied with number. 56 times 28 is 1608 and inch will be multiplied with inch. How? Just like when you multiply x times x, it becomes x square with the rule of exponents, right? Similarly, when you multiply inch with inch, that will become inch square. So that is why in case of areas, we always use square inches, right? So in this question, D is the right option. We are not writing inch square because it is always already given what is the area in square inches of the rectangles, right? So D is the right option. Okay. Now let's come to question number 4. 10 of x is equal to 110, okay, and 6x minus 63 is equal to y. The solution to the given system of equations is xy. What is the value of y? See, when a system of equations is given, for example, here two equations are given, then what value of x and y we calculate? These values satisfy both the equations, right? And as here, I can see the first equation has only one variable. And when there is only one variable, we need only one equation to solve the question. Only one equation is needed. So that means first equation can be solved for x independently without needing the other one. Let's do it. 10 of x is equal to 110, dividing by 10 on both sides, x is equal to 11. Now because both it is a system of equations, that means whatever is the value of x in the first equation will be the value of x in the second equation too. And so if we plug it here, we can calculate the value of y. So let's write it. 6x minus 63 is equal to y, and 6 times 11 minus 63 is equal to y. 66 minus 63 is equal to y. So y is equal to 3. That means D is the right option. Okay. Okay, let me tell you one more point. Whenever it is a system of equations, right? In this case, the first equation has only one variable and the second equation has both the variables. But most of the times, or suppose you will get two equations, for example, 6x plus 3y is equal to 16, let's say, and 2x plus 9y is equal to 27. So these are the two equations and both the equations have two variables. So you cannot solve them one equation independently. So whenever you have two equations, you need two, when an equation has two variables, we need two equations to solve them. So now this system can be solved either by elimination method or substitution method or graphical method, right? We can use either of the methods. But in our question, what is the difference? The first equation has only one variable, so we are solving it for x without using the other equation at that time. I hope that point is clear because this is really an important point. Yes. Okay, let's do question 5 now. The function f is defined by fx is equal to 9 times 2x plus 3. For what value of x does fx is equal to 63? Okay. Fx is equal to 63. That means we have to replace fx with 63 and this is 9 2x plus 3. Now here I want to solve this question with two methods. First method is like you apply the distributive property first, right? So 63 is equal to 9 twos are 18x plus 9 threes are 27, subtracting 27 on both sides. So this is 36 is equal to 18x. Now dividing by 18 on both sides. So 36 by 18 is 2. X is equal to 2. And another method is like, why not divide by 9 on both sides first? So all this distributive thing will be deleted, right? So 63 divided by 9 is equal to 9 by 9, 2x plus 1, 2x plus 3, that is deleted. 7 is equal to 2x plus 3, subtracting 3 on both sides and then dividing by 2 on both sides. So x is equal to 2. Both methods are correct, right? But this method is a little bit risky. Let me tell you why and what point you should consider while doing this. If I have like 63 is equal to 9 and 2x plus 3, so right hand side has two factors. First factor is 9 and second factor is this whole thing, right? So whenever we divide on both sides, the whole factor should be divided. If you are getting confused in it, you can leave that part, right? You can solve either by this or by this. But if you want to go in a little bit detail, then try to understand this. So here I can divide the whole factor like 69, 63 divided by 9 and 9 divided by 9. But if it is like 2x plus 3, right? So yes, 2 and x, this is 1 and 3 is added to. So there are two terms, right, which are added. So 2 is multiplied only with x, not with 3. So I cannot divide by 2 on this side like this. No, that is not possible because right hand side, this 2x is affected by 3 also. So you cannot do this. If you are dividing on both sides by some number or factor, it should be a complete factor, right? You cannot take a number out of two terms and then divide it. Yes, this is a factor, second factor, it has two terms, term 1 and term 2. So factor can have multiple terms, right? But if you are dividing, that should be a whole factor thing. Clear? If you want to leave this concept, you can totally leave that. You can adopt either method 1 or method 2. But in SAT, like, we must know every single aspect of uh, or every single way of solving the question. So every small concept is really important. So I suggest you to just learn this, but that is totally your wish. Okay. Sixth question is 10x is equal to 86. What value of x is the solution to the given equation? So we have to find the value of x. So if 10 of x is equal to 86, we will divide by 10 on both sides. So x is equal to 86 by 10. Now what this question is demanding or checking, it is checking, do you know how to divide with the power of tens or 10? So yes, what happens? Decimal moves to left hand side. So the rule is decimal moves to left hand side. Now you will say, where is the decimal in 86? There is no decimal. Okay. So 86, you can write it like this, right? By 10. And because there is 1 0 in the denominator, so this decimal will shift 1 point and that will become 8.6. Let's take another example. Suppose you have 86 by 100, right? So this hidden decimal is here, and because denominator is 100, you will move it 2 points, so that will become decimal 86. This question is checking our this concept. Okay. Let's move to question number 7. Y is equal to 3600 a to the power x. So this is an exponential equation. Uh, the given equation where a is a positive constant gives the predictive number of bacteria y in a growth medium x hours after the number of bacteria was initially measured. Okay, as we can see, this is an exponential equation. So exponential equation is in this form, ab to the power x, right? So here, like, this is a function of x, so this is output, right? And this x is input. Whatever input you are going to give it, according to that output will be calculated. And in this question it is about number of bacteria, right? So number of bacteria after time t is equal to 3600 a to the power t. That is about number of bacteria. And in this a is the initial value, right? You can ignore this part. I just try to um, tell every possible way we can write or understand. So this a is the initial value. And initial value is like when you started the experiment, what was the original number? Now this equation is showing me that this 3600 is the original number. Okay, let's see what is being asked. According to the equation, what is the predicted number of bacteria initially measured? So that means what was the initial value? 3600. So this question is only about how you interpret the equation. And do you know the meaning of every single term or factor or variable, whatever is given there? If you know that, then this question is just checking your knowledge for that. So initial value is 3600, right? Let's start question 8. Leo goes to packing store to buy containers and tape. Okay, shopping time. He has $15. That means whatever Leo is going to purchase, the cost of the total items can be less than or equal to. He cannot spend more than $15 because he does not have that much of money. He does not have more than $15. So it has to be, total cost has to be less than or equal to 15, right? So sometimes, deleting the wrong options, accelerate the process of solving the question. So if I see this is the inequality, so only A and C options are giving me this inequality. So B and D are already deleted, right? Each container costs this much and each roll of tape costs this much. Okay. Which inequality represents the relationship between the number of containers C and the number of rolls of tape T Leo can buy? Now, let's stop here. Suppose I have to buy 5 chocolates, right? And cost of one chocolate is $2, so I am going to pay $10 in total. So this is the number of chocolates and this is the cost, and overall I am getting the total cost, right? Now if I compare it with this question, container is C. We don't know how many containers are there. This we have to find. So if there are C containers and cost of one container is this, right? C times this, and the another item he is going to buy is roll of tapes. So that means again tapes, number of tapes, and this is about cost of one tape. So this total should be less than or equal to 15 because he has total $15, right? Now let's check the option. Which option is yes, A option. So C is container. This is the cost of one container. T is tape. This is the cost of one roll of tape, and it has to be less than or equal to 15. Okay. Okay. Now let's move to question number 9. The graph of the function f is shown, okay, where y is equal to x. Okay, so this is the graph of exponential function. Now let's see what the options are. Which of the following best describes the function? Now here we have two concepts. One is decreasing or increasing, and another one is exponential or linear. Linear means straight line. Linear always means straight lines, right? And exponential always means like going like this. Initially, it is slow, whatever it is, this is growth or decay, but then is really, it grows or decays exponentially. So this is the kind of graph. If I see the graph, it's not at all the linear. So that means C and D are already deleted. Now, what is decreasing and what is increasing? Let's see both of them. Decreasing means, this is the symbol for decreasing. We can say it in three terms. Number one, in case of decreasing, slope is always negative. Number two, if I talk in terms of coordinates, for example, coordinate data is given, x in the form of x and y. So if x is increasing, y is, if the values of x are increasing, values of y are decreasing. And if the values of x are decreasing, value of y's are increasing. So both are going in opposite direction. Then also it is said to be a decreasing function. Third way is like you draw a tangent, right? Tangent is a line which touches the graph at one point only. And check this angle. If this angle is less than 90 degree, right, then the slope is positive. But if you see a function, let me draw something is like this, and I draw a tangent at that particular point. Slope is always measured from the right direction of the x-axis. So this angle is greater than 90 degree, right? So there are three ways. So in this case, the angle which the tangent is going to make is greater than 90 degree, and we always measure it from the right hand side. So this is for decreasing function. And now if I come for increasing function, in that case, slope is always positive as there in this case. And if I talk in terms of coordinates, if x is increasing, y is also increasing. And if x is decreasing, y is also decreasing. That means either both are increasing or both are decreasing. So if you draw them on the graph, the third case is satisfied, that in this case, theta will be less than 90 degrees. So if I have to check here in this graph, what I prefer is like draw a tangent line and check theta is, less than 90 degree or greater than 90 degree. You can choose any of the methods, right? So if theta is less than 90 degrees, slope is positive. And when slope is positive, function is increasing. Okay, so that means it is increasing exponential. B is the right option, right? I have explained the whole concept. And I always guide that if you are learning a new concept, make a rule book, write rules in that book, only rules in that book. And that will be the quick handout for you during the exams, right? Question number 10. Here I can see a graph as well as the shading. Okay. So, yeah, this is x-axis and y-axis. And there is a line which is parallel to x-axis. Okay. So, this is a line which is parallel to x-axis. And this is the shaded part. Okay. Let's first understand the graph, right? Then let's see the options first. The shaded region shown in the graph represent all the solutions to which inequality. So we have to check the inequality. Now let's come back to the graph. Whenever, whenever a line is parallel to x-axis, right? So if you check that line, y value is same everywhere, right? What is changing? Only x value. So whenever you have the same y value, you will find a line which is parallel to x-axis, and that line will have equation y is equal to that number, whatever that number is. And here that number is 36 approximately. So y is equal to 36. I'm not talking about inequality. Right now I'm just explaining the concept. Okay. Second point. If this line is a solid line, for example, here in this case, we include this value. But if you see this line as the dotted line, you will not use y is equal to 36. That means y is equal to 36 is not included, right? So because here it is a solid line, y is equal to 36 is also a part of the inequality. Now, every other value is greater than this, right? Greater than 36. So, y has to be greater than 36. Now, these two equations, one is equation and one is inequation, these both are satisfying due to solid line. So, that is y is greater than or equal to 36, right? This is how we do these kind of questions. So, okay, D is the right option. Now, let me show you the other option also. For example, let's draw a line which is parallel to y-axis this time. This is the line. Because here we are meant to do the concepts instead of questions. So now this time, this line is parallel to y-axis. So what is fixed? Value of x is fixed, right? X is always 5. Y is changing. Y is changing. Here it is 15, here it is 20, here it is 25. So x is equal to 5 is the equation of the line, right? And if I shade it here on the left hand side, so I can see that every value which is less than 5 is satisfying it, right? Okay, let's do one more thing. This time let's draw it dotted line like this. So definitely this is the like in line, but because it is dotted, so x is equal to 5 is not included in this line. Now let's say this particular part is shaded, right? So what this part is telling us? This is telling us that x is less than 5 every single time. So I will say x is less than 5. If I say x is less than or equal to 5, that will not be true because here the line is dotted, right? Okay, I think the whole concept is clear. Question number 11, again a word problem. And I always say like talk to word problems like your friends, right? Try to understand every single word of it, right? What happens when your friend is talking to you, you listen so carefully. You understand him or her so well that whatever is asked, you understand that. This is what you have to do with the word problems. Or if I say it another way, try to break the question into parts, right? And use the information given by breaking it into parts. There are 240 players in a tennis competition. Okay, so there are 240 players that include 4 rounds of matches. Information taken, 240 players, 4 rounds of matches. Each player in the competition will play a match against other player in round 1. Okay. At the end of each round, the player who loses the match is eliminated and the player who won the match advances to the next round to play a match against another winning power. Just like, suppose these two are playing. So this person wins and this loses. So he will be out of the game. And this one will play with the other winner. Other winner. This is how the game goes. Okay. Which equation gives the number of players be eliminated at the end of the round R? Okay. So this is an exponential equation because this is an exponential equation. So this is in the form this. Now, it is the output, right? What is the output here? Remaining players, which is P. A is the initial value. That means whatever the incident is, or whatever the like here we are talking about game. So initially there were 240 players, or there are 240 players. So that is the initial value, right? 15 is not the initial value. So that means this option is deleted and this option is deleted. Now, okay, 1 by 2r or 2r. Pause the video and try to find out number is decreasing or number is increasing, because this equation is saying number is decreasing. This equation is saying number is getting half, and definitely number is getting half because out of the two players only one left, right? And this happens, for example, in the beginning there are 240 players, they are playing with each other, so 120 win, 120 lose, so 120 deleted. Next time again half will be left, right? Because then these 120 will play with one another, 60 left. So what is happening? Half. So 240 is the initial value and it's getting half every next time. So that means C is the right option, right? Understand the meaning of the question. Go into the depth of the question. Okay. Line K is defined by y is equal to 6x plus 4. Line J is parallel to line K. Okay, line J, so that is the first information, that line J is parallel to line K, and this is line K. Now tell me, if two lines are parallel to each other, what is the rule? What is same in that case? So if L is parallel to K, right? What will happen? Like this line is parallel to this line. Let's say this is the case. This one is L and this one is K. So what is equal in that case? This slope. So when two lines are parallel to each other, their slopes are equal, right? Now if I use this concept, so this is y is equal to mx plus b. Slope is 6. That means line L will also have slope 6. That is same. Now this 4 is the initial value or the y-intercept. And if you see this one, because x is 0, this is the y-intercept, right? So that means this is the value of b. So the line equation of the line is 6x plus 5. Okay, let's see the option. Yes, A is the right option. Now let's do something smart. Because we know that when two lines are parallel to each other, their slopes are equal. And if you check the option, only A option is giving you the same slope, right? So here you can be quick within seconds. Either you can be quick or you can use this to check your answer okay, because only this option has slope 6, so that means I am going right. Correct? Page number 13, a right triangle is given to us and here is the missing value, x degrees, okay, and two sides, length of the two legs is given 15 and 15, figure not drawn to scale, okay. In the triangle shown, what is the value of x? Now, in triangles, this is the beauty of triangles. Every time, either you see Pythagoras or you see trigonometric ratios, every time you use the 3 number, right? When you are doing Pythagoras theorem, it's always about measurement of three sides, right? Three sides measurement. But here we have two sides and one angle. And whenever we have two sides and one angle and we, given, then it's about trigonometric ratios. So this is the way how we decide that what concept we have to use in this question. So here we have to talk about trigonometric ratios. Okay, perfect. So what is given? Opposite and hypotenuse both are same, right? And what T ratio is formed by opposite and adjacent? Tan. So tan theta is equal to adjacent over opposite. Both are same, so that is equal to 1. Now, This we have to remember that when both are same, right, then it is tan of 45 degree. So tan 45 degrees 1. That is one way. But this question is, you can solve by another way too. With the help of, like, second property we can use is that of isosceles triangle. How we can use this? Because these two sides are equal. So this is an isosceles triangle, right angled isosceles triangle. And when two sides are equal, these two angles are equal, right? So that is the property. So that means this is also x. Now, if you use the angle sum property, then x plus 90 degree is equal to 180 degree. So 2x plus 90 degree is equal to 180 degree, and subtracting 90 on both sides. So x is equal to 45 degrees. That means value of x is 45 degree. Now, this is the proper way of solving the question. But sometimes what happens, if we see the pattern, right, we observe the pattern and then keep it in our head that if it is a right angled isosceles triangle, then obviously according to rule, other two angles will be 45 degree and 45 degree. So my last statement is like, if you have done n number of questions and observed the pattern very carefully, do it directly. If you are comfortable with t ratios, use this. If you are comfortable with the triangle geometry property, do this. So see, one question and so many ways to do it. Okay. Let's come to question number 14. What is the radius of the circle in the xy plane defined by x plus 2 whole squared plus y plus 5 whole squared is equal to 169. Okay, so standard equation of the circle is x plus h whole square plus y minus y plus k, x minus h whole square, my bad, x minus h whole squared plus y minus k whole squared is equal to r squared. That is simply the distance formula, right? Suppose this is the circle and the center is h and k, right? And if you apply, because radius is same anywhere, if it can touch any point on the circle, it will be always be same. So it's simply the distance formula. And if I compare it with this equation, at place of r square, I am getting 169. So square root both sides, it is 169. But because radius cannot be negative, so radius is equal to 13, right? So the question is about radius of the circle and radius is 13. Perfect. Question number 15. We are doing bundle 11, module 2. A graph is given to us. Okay, so there is some x-axis and y-axis. Let's read the question. The graph shows the estimated boiling point y in degrees Celsius of a normal paraffin with a molecular weight of x gram per mole. Okay, now that means y is the boiling point in degrees Celsius and x is the gram per mole weight. Let's write it here. So x is the gram per mole, that is the weight, and y-axis is this y-axis, this is the boiling point. Okay, boiling point. Perfect. Where x lies between 1 to 280. Now when I am saying x lies between 1 to 280, I am doing a mistake because x is not between 1 and 280. Because of this equal to sign, I should say x is from 1 to 280. So you see, sometimes very small words make a question right or wrong. So when I say between 1 and 280, I mean x is between 1 and 280. And this equal to sign is not there. But when I say from 1 to 280, right, that means I am including 1 as well as 280. That is just the extra concept I want to cover here so that you can interpret the question correctly. Okay. Which statement is the best interpretation for the point 149.02 and 186.05? Okay, so that means a coordinate x and y is given to us. And this is that point x and y. And what is x? 149.02. And what is y? 186.05. And if we check x is the weight, so that means 149.02 is gram per mole. You must have noticed once I said 149.02 and then I am saying 149.02. Now you have to tell me which one is correct. I should say decimal here or I should say point here. So that's a question for you. And y is the boiling point, right? This is what this information we are getting from this graph. Okay, let's go to the options. So a normal paraffin with a molecular weight of 186.05 gram per mole has an estimating boiling point. No, that's wrong. Boiling point is 186.05 because that is the y coordinate and y-axis is what? Boiling point. So first one is wrong. Okay. A normal paraffin with the molecular weight of 189.09 is the weight and 186.05 is the estimated boiling point. Yes, so B is the right option. B is the right option, so no need to read C and D, but even then let's see that. The minimum estimated boiling point for the normal paraffin wax, minimum, no, there is no minimum or maximum here. These are the proper coordinates on the graph, right? So that means these are not the end points. So that means this is the proper value, not the minimum or the maximum value. So this makes C and D wrong. Okay, let's do question 16. For the polynomial function f, the graph of y is equal to fx in the xy plane passes through the points -5, 0, 1, 0 and 4, 0. Okay, so all the coordinates given are like where y is equal to 0. That is important for us. We have taken this observation that in all the three coordinates, the y coordinate is 0. All the three coordinates pair, the y coordinate is 0. Which of the following must be the factor of fx? Okay, let's stop here, right? And try to understand this last question's concept. What is the concept involved in this question? I'm just getting out of the question. Let's say you have a quadratic equation and you have factorized it. Suppose these are the two factors, right? So how we calculate it? That to find the zeros of the polynomial, is actually y is equal to 0. So x plus 5 and x minus 1 is equal to 0. So according to property, either x plus 5 is equal to 0 or x minus 1 is equal to 0, right? So x is equal to -5 and x is equal to 1. Now we have done this question in a reverse manner. Here the values are given to us. X is equal to -5, x is equal to 1 and x is equal to 4. These are the zeros of the polynomial because at these points y is equal to 0. Now I'll do the opposite. So that means x plus 5 is equal to 0, x minus 1 is equal to 0 and x minus 4 is equal to 0. Now in the next step, again from here to here, I will move here to this step. So x plus 5 and x minus 1 and x minus 4 is equal to 0. So these are the three factors of this polynomial. This is the information we are getting from this question. Now let's check the option. No, this is not x minus 5. This is x plus 5. Here is the trap, This question is so beautifully made that you may think that because this is 4, so x plus 4, and this is negative 5, so x minus 5. But if you see the whole concept, right, we are just doing the opposite what we have learned. So yes, x minus 1 is there. No. That is a wonderful question. Not one in terms of concept, and two in terms of how these options are made. They are here to trick you, right? So be careful. Okay. Question number 17th. X and gx, a table is given. For the linear function g, the table shows 4 values of x and their corresponding values of gx. Okay. The function can be written as gx is equal to mx plus b. Yes, 100%. Where m and b are constants, what is the value of b? Okay, again the second wonderful question. Now, if I need to solve this question, right, I can take three methods. One, we always say, right, that because graphing calculator is given to us, so whenever possible we should use that. But that whenever possible is not perfect here. For example, if I want to try Desmos here, right, the graph which is given to you during the exam, then initially if you see the setup in the Desmos, right, it's like 1 2 3 4 like this, and negative 1 and all this, with the difference of 1. But if you see this, right, these are like multiples of 4. So first you have to go to the settings and change this value, right? So this may take a little longer. But once you do that, you will just draw the line from these points, right? And do it. But do you think that if you just mark the points, you can draw a line from it? Again, that is a question. So now we are getting the idea. Though it is a question of graph, using Desmos is not a good idea here. Okay. That means what should we do? We should use the equation. So whenever the points are given, this is our equation, is equal to m x minus x1, right? And then m is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, right? So let's say this is y1 and this is y2 and this is x1 and x2. So you will use the values and find the equation of the line. Okay, perfect. That is the second method. But there is one more method which is much more logical than this. Now, if I calculate the slope, okay, that is needed. So y2 minus y1, 28 minus 32 over 2 minus 1, which is 4. So slope is negative 4. But here slope is not asked. What is asked? B. Because again, this is like concept based question. So instead of applying the values here and write the equation and then find the value of B, why not let's do some smart math. So actually B is the y-intercept, right? Now what is happening? Here, if I go from bottom to top, value is increasing by 4. So value above it will be 36, right? And here the value is decreasing by 1, so that will be 0. So don't you think this 36 is giving me the y-intercept? So this is the smartest way here to solve the question, right? So that means the y-intercept or value of b is 36. We have solved this. But let's continue with this method too. So slope is negative 4. So y minus y1, y minus y1 is equal to negative 4. y2, okay, y1 is 32. Let me tell you one more thing, very important point. Negative 4 x minus 1. So y minus 32 is equal to negative 4x plus 4, adding 32 on both sides, negative 4x plus 36. So this is the proper formula way, and this is the logical way, and SCT demands this. Sometimes what you say, oh, paper is very lengthy, it was really lengthy. I was not able to complete that. Believe me, it's never lengthy. You feel it lengthy because this question is demanding a skill, and which takes maybe maximum to maximum 1 minute. You are thinking it and applying it. But if you solve it with this method, you will take much more time than this question should take. And then you will find the paper as lengthy. Point number 1. Point number 2. Be careful while you are applying this formula. If you take y1 here, that should be y1 throughout the sequence. It's not this that when you are taking the slope, then you are taking y1 is this or this, whatever is this. But when you are applying the formula, you by mistake take the other one, right? Then your equation will be wrong. Okay, I think I have covered every single point and you have got it. Question number 18. X and fx are given 3 pair of coordinates. For the quadratic function f, the table shows 3 values of x and their corresponding values of fx. Which equation defines f? Okay. So if we see the options, these are not the quadratic equation kind of scenarios. For example, if you have a quadratic equation, let's say I have some function f of x. So either it is in the factors form, right? Or it is in the standard form, like ax squared plus bx plus c. But if we see the options, a constant is added or subtracted from all the options. So that means the usual method is not going to work. Okay, usual method is not going to work. That is our first point here. And what method is going to work then? Let's see. For that, we are doing a concept. Suppose you have f of x is equal to x squared. This is a function, right? And then you form a new function where you just add 5 to the parent function or fx. Then how you can write it as that g of x at place of fx, you can write fx plus 5. So that is a possibility, right? So I am going to use this possibility in my question. Why? Because this is not a usual question and we have something different here. So let's come here and form gx. To form gx, I will add 8 to fx. That means I am forming a new function by adding 8 to the fx thing. So if I add here, it will become 0. If I add 8 here, it will become 0. If I add 8 here, it will become 16. So gx is a new function fx plus 8. So 24 negative 8 0. If we write it like this, then f of 24 is equal to negative 8. F and g of 24 is equal to 0. See, f of 24 is equal to negative 8 and g of 24 is equal to 0. Similarly, f of 30 is equal to negative 8 and f of g of 30 is equal to 0. Let's write that too. Then second one is f of 30 is equal to negative 8 and g of 30 is equal to 0. And third one is f of 32 is equal to 8 and g of 32 is equal to 16, because this is what we are going to use. So f of 32 is equal to 8 and g of 32 is equal to 16. Now you will say, how will you think about it? Definitely, I started the question with the very basic concept that if I convert it into this form and put this is equal to 0, right? So that means value of y is equal to 0. So this is 0 of the polynomial, this is 0 of the polynomial. So coordinates are like 24 and 0 and 30 and 0. So that means I can write g of x is equal to k x minus 24 and x minus 30. Now you must be noticing why I formed a new function to form the two factors. I'm not using the third one, but that's okay. In a quadratic equation, we have two factors we have there. Now I don't have the value of k. So I will use this one to find the value of k. That means what are the coordinates? When x is 32, y is 16. So let's put gx is 16, k, and this is 32 minus 24, and this is 32 minus 30 is equal to k. This is 8 and this is 2, 16. So divided by 16 on both sides, k is equal to 1. Now I have proper equation of gx. So gx is equal to k, which is 1, and x minus 24 and x minus 30. Clear till here? But we don't have to find gx. We have to find fx. So what we are going to use here? G of x is equal to fx plus 8, right? So at place of gx, I'm going to write fx plus 8 is equal to x minus 24 and x minus 30. So f of x is equal, subtracting 8 on both sides, x minus 24, x minus 30 minus 8. That means B is the right option. Correct? It was a tricky one, but a good one. Question number 19. A linear graph is given to us, and x-axis is about number of m-type stars and y-axis is about number of k-type stars. Okay. A certain open star cluster contains m-type stars and k-type stars. The estimated total mass of m-type at k-type stars in this open star clusters is this much of quadragrams. The graph shows models for the possible combinations of number of m-type stars S and k-type stars Y that could be in this open star cluster if all the m star type stars have the same estimated mass. See, this seems to be a very lengthy information, but let's break it. First, information. Let's break it into informations. It's about number of stars. M-type stars are on the x-axis and k-type stars on the y-axis. Graph is given only about numbers. But here, information is about mass. No information in the graph about mass. So this is something extra. But yes, it's a piece of information. Let's keep it aside. Okay, same estimated mass and all the k-type stars have same estimated mass. That means every k star and every m star type has a same mass, right? Based on the graph, which of the following is closest to the estimated mass in quadragrams of each m-type stars in the cluster? Okay, now if I see this question, it has nothing to do directly with the graph. But what is asked? M-type graphs. No question about K-type graph, right? It is about number of M-type graphs. So why not take this point where the number of K stars are 0, right? So if I find the coordinates of this, it is approximately 158 and 0, right? Because question says, now how will you guess? Question is only asking about m-type stars. So what we are doing, we are trying to find the x-intercept, right? Where k-type stars are 0. And x-intercept here is 158. So that means when there are 158 m-type stars, k-type stars are 0. Now, we have to answer the mass, not the number, right? From here, we can guess that if 158 m stars have this much of mass, because total mass is this, right? So 158 m-type stars have mass of, what is the mass? 127,882 quatergrams. So what will be the mass of one m-type star? That means we will divide it by 158 and it's approximately 811, right? That is a wonderful question. Initially you will think, oh my God, where is the information in the graph about the mass? But there is no such thing. But when you reached at the end of the question, that means we have to talk only about m-type stars. So some extra concept is needed here, that mass is given and we have to find the mass of the one m-type graph. I hope that question is, you have understood this. It's a little bit different, but yes, a wonderful one. Question 20. Okay. In the given equation, p is greater than 1, t is greater than 1, if t is equal to p to the power 3n minus 1, where n is a constant, what is the value of n? Okay. So this seems like a very weird equation. So let's understand the concept one first. For example, if you have 3 and then this 3 is multiplied. So here this 3 is just like a factor and you will do it like this. Let's see one more example. If you have this 5 inside, right? So definitely 3 is multiplied and whatever is this number, it comes as 1 over that number. So that means the rule is like whatever is n, whatever the power is, it will become p to the power 1 by n only if it is inside this sign. Okay. Now in our question we have p squared and this 3 is here, not as a factor but as a cube root. So we will write it as p squared raised to the power 1 over 3. Rule number 1. Rule number 2 is like if you have power m and then n power here just like this, then these powers are multiplied. So rule number 2 says that 2 will be multiplied with 1 over 3 and that will become 2 by 3. Right hand side is already 9 by 7, so it's this. Till now we have used two rules of exponents. Okay, now let's move forward. In our question, sorry, we have only t, not 9 by 7. So just pause the video and check what we can do. We have to delete this power. So I can multiply it with 7 by 9, right? But if I am doing it on left hand side, it has to be done on right hand side also. So that will become t, and p, numerator is multiplied with numerator and denominator is multiplied with denominator. 7 2s are 14 over 9 3s are 27. The rule is like it is p to the power a by b times c by d, or let's not make it power. If we are multiplying two rational numbers, numerator is multiplied with numerator and denominator is multiplied with denominator, right? Now we have this t is equal to p to the power 14 over 27, but the question says t is equal to p to the power 3n minus 1. So that means in the question it is p to the power 3n minus 1 and we have p to the power 14 over 27. Now one more rule of exponents is used. Then when bases are same on the opposite side of equality, then powers can be equated. Right? So you must be checking how many rules are used. Rule number 1, right? Rule number 2, how powers can be multiplied. Rule number 3, that when there are same bases on the opposite side, powers can be equated. Now we have to calculate n. So now fractions are tested. Adding 1 on both sides. Right? Now when we are adding fraction, either we can use butterfly method or we can make the denominator same. Here making the denominator same is much more making much more sense. So let's do it. So it is 14 plus 27 over 27. See, I'm just solving the questions like assuming the fact that you know the basic fraction or the basic concept. But if you are seeing the question, understanding the question, and you come up with a doubt, do comment me, right? I'll explain the thing to you. Okay. So then 3n is equal to 41 by 27, multiplying by 3 on both sides. 41 by 27 into 3, which is 81. So value of n is equal to 41 by 81. See, this whole bundle, module 2 is all the questions are tricky. Either they are tricky or they are using so many properties, or if you see this kind of answer in your questions, you will say, oh my god, this is such a weird number, how can this be the answer? So this bundle 2 is really wonderful if you are going with the higher level questions, higher difficulty level questions, right? So just revise the whole bundle many times. But here our answer is correct. It is 41 over 81. Okay. Let's come to question number 21. The number A is 55% less than the number B. Okay. A is 55% less than number B. Okay. And the number B is 320% greater than 160. So what is 320% of 160, right? So it is 320% greater than 160. That means 320% of 160 plus 160. Now it has two variables, A as well as B. And here we have only B, right? So we can solve this first to find the value of B. Okay, so that is 3.2 times 160 plus 160. See, in this question there are many concepts which have very basic concepts involved in that. I am just doing the concepts involved in that particular question. Again, I am saying, if you find some concept difficult, comment me. I'll just send you, I'll make a small video on that too, or explain you in the concept itself. So if you calculate this with the help of calculator, you will end up at 672. So B is 672. Now let's come here, right? Instead of putting B as 672, why not solve this first? So that is, take B common. It is 1 minus 0.55. So that means B. Now we will plug the value of B, which is 672. So that is equal to 302.4. So value of A is 302.4, 302.4. Okay. Question 22. F of x is equal to negative 6x squared plus 60x minus 126. Okay. The function f is defined by the given equation. Which of the following equivalent forms of the equation displays the maximum value of function as a constant or coefficient? Okay. Now, if I see this question, it's a quadratic equation. So, going to form a parabola. And if this a is less than 0, it's going to give us a downward parabola, right? So, this h and k is the vertex and k is the maximum value, because if it is a downward parabola, then vertex is going to give you the maximum value. Now let's solve it first. My equation is y is equal to negative 6x squared plus 60x minus 126. If I take negative 6 common, left with be this. Okay, I can see that this question, if I solve by AC method, right, negative 10 and 21, so this and this, these can be the two numbers. So we can do middle term splitting. Okay, D can be the right option, but it's not. Why? Because we have to find a function which displays the maximum value of the function as a constant or a coefficient. That is, curveball or the trap of SAT. You will find out that your answer is correct. That means D is the right option, but this is not what is asked. So what is asked? Y is equal to negative 6 x squared minus 10x plus 21. Let's do completing the square first, and then we justify why we have to use this method. So if you do completing the squares, right, let's say this is my equation. So x squared minus 2xy plus y squared, this is the identity, right? This much part is given to us, which is this x squared minus 10x, right? Now let's break it. X squared minus 2 times 5 times y. So x is here, this one, not y, my bad. This is x, right? So this x is here as it is. Y is 5. And you should have y square here. So that means you will add the square of it and subtract the square root. This is the first method. And plus 21 is as it is. Right? So what we have done, this is given to us. We tried to find out the value of y from here, added that value and subtracted that value. If we are adding it, we have to subtract it too to make the equation same. This is the first method. And if you choose another method, like whatever is this value, half it, add the square of it and subtract the square of it. So there are two methods to solve this. You can take either this approach or this approach. That's okay. Both ways you will be at the same point. Okay, so now that is negative 6. So this is x sine from here, because this is the square of 5. This is from here. And what is left? Negative 25 plus 21. That is equal to negative 6 x minus 5 whole squared, and that is negative 4. So this is equal to negative 6 x minus 5 whole squared. Negative 6 times negative 4 is plus 24, right? So this is the right option too. Now you have two correct answers, right? This one as well as this one. Which one to choose? You need the equation or the equivalent form which displays the maximum value. So what this equation is displaying? This is displaying the zeros, not the maximum value, though it's a correct answer, right? But we need, for display of maximum values, here it is displaying the maximum values 5 and 24. So that means C is the right option. That's a wonderful question because it is actually the SAT curveball style of question. Question number 23. A figure is given to us which is kind of two triangles. This is triangle 1 and this is second triangle. And I can see that it's given this angle is equal to this angle because both are 8 degrees. And if I try to apply the properties of what, intersecting lines, because these two lines are intersecting lines, then this angle will be equal to this angle. How? These are vertical angles. Okay, figure decoded. Not drawn up to scale, that's okay. In the shown figure, YZ and XY intersect at Q. YQ is 21. Okay, YQ is 21. This one is 70. This one is 60. This one is 120. And we have to find out YZ. This way to have find. Okay. Now, first I have to find it which method I have to use, right? Because angle W is equal to angle Y, right? So angle W is equal to angle Y and angle Q is equal to angle Q. Angle Q is equal to angle Q. So now I can apply the AA similarity issue. And how to write it? Suppose I am writing first triangle here and second triangle here, right? So W of this and Y of this, both should be at the first place. Q of this and Q of this, both should be at the second place. Now third one is X for the first triangle and C for the second triangle, and these are similar to each other. Half of the work is done. Now when two triangles are similar, their ratios are equal. How? First 2 over first 2. WQ over YQ is equal to QX over QZ. QX over QZ is equal to WX over YZ. Right? Now we have written the ratios. Let's check what is given. So WQ is 70 over YQ is 21 is equal to, I have to find YZ. So this is not used, right? So I can just delete it from the middle because only, this side and this side is needed and we can solve this. WX is 60 and we have to solve for YZ. Okay. Now let's solve for YZ. First of all, multiplying by YZ on both sides. No, and this can be done in, the mental. Okay, this can be done orally, but okay, I'm just doing it the whole thing because what if you are starting your practice? So YZ is cancelled. Now if I cancel this, 7 tens is 70 and 7 threes are 21. Okay, so 10 by 3 YZ is equal to 63. Let's multiply by reciprocal on both sides because we need to get rid of this 10 by 3 and we need YZ. So is equal to 6 times 3, which is 18. So A is the right option. Okay. Question number 24, 52. One factor is x cubed plus 64. Another one is x to the power 4 minus 81 is equal to 0. How many distinct real solutions does the given equation have? Okay, so now we have to find the solutions, and for that we need to find the factors, and for that we need identities. So as you can see, this is a cubed and plus sign, and this 64 is the cube of 3. So first identity we are going to use is like 8x cubed plus y cubed is equal to x plus y, x squared minus xy plus y squared, right? So what we have, x cubed plus 64 is the cube of 4 plus 4 cubed. So that is x plus 4, x squared minus 4x plus 16, right? So these are the factors of this. Let's start doing here. So 52 x cubed plus 64, x4 minus 81 is equal to 0. First, let's write the factors of this, which are x plus 4, x squared minus 4x plus 16. Now we will factorize x4 minus 81. So for that, we are going to use the identity because there is a negative sign in between. X squared minus y squared is equal to x plus y times x minus y. Now this 81 is a square of 9. So I'll write it as x squared minus 9 squared is equal to x squared plus 9 squared and x squared minus 9 x, my bad, x plus 9, x square plus 9, right? Because here we have x4 minus 9 square. So x square plus 9 and x square minus 9. Now again I can see x squared minus 9 as x plus 3 and x minus 3. So the three factors are x squared plus 9, x plus 3 and x minus 3. Okay, so the three factors are x squared plus 9, x plus 3 and x minus 3 is equal to 0. Now we have done the factorization part. We will apply the 0 property and try to solve the question. That means putting every factor is equal to 0. 52 is equal to 0. No, that is not the 0. Instead, initially you can divide the whole sides by 52 to get rid of this. And then we will not be writing this. Now first is x plus 4 is equal to 0. Second is x squared minus 4x plus 16 is equal to 0. This is x squared plus 9 is equal to 0. X plus 3 is equal to 0 and x minus 3 is equal to 0. Now if you do this, right, x squared is equal to negative sign. This is going to give me an imaginary number, not the real one. So that is deleted. If you do this, x is equal to negative 4, one of the solutions. If you do this one, x plus 3 is equal to 0, subtracting 3 on both sides, x is equal to negative 3. If you do this one, x is equal to 3. Now we have applied the logic here that if you have squared or do square root, inside negative sign, no real solution. Now this is a quadratic equation, right? Just to find that this equation has real roots or real solutions or not, we find a quantity known as discriminant, right? See, I am using here discriminant as it is, but if you need the detailed explanation of it, just message me. Or if you are seeing my videos, in some of the videos, when only this concept is asked, I have explained the whole thing, why D is responsible to find out the real roots or not, right? D is equal to minus B, okay, B squared minus 4AC. So here A is 1, B is negative 4 and C is 16. So negative 4 whole squared minus 4 times 1 times 16. 16 minus 64 and it is a negative value, right? Negative value. And when D is less than 0, there are no real solutions, right? So that means this is not going to give us real solutions. This is first of it. This part is not going to give us real solutions. This is second and this is third. So there are exactly 3 real solutions for this. So B is the right option. Okay. See it 2 or 3 times to absorb all the informations given in the question, right? Question number 25th. A histogram is given to us. The x-axis represents the number of points and the y-axis represents the frequency. The histogram summarizes dataset A, which represents the number of points per player earned by the 50 players of the game. Okay, so total number is fixed 50, right? That means total number of 50. That means sum of all the frequencies is equal to 50. A new player earns 18 points playing the game, and this number is points is added to dataset A to create a dataset B. This is dataset A, right? Now someone has scored 18 somewhere here, right? And that is one pair, frequency is 1. So that means this is the minimum score, okay? Now the dataset B will have 51 values and dataset, so it is dataset A, and this one is dataset B where number is 51. That means sum of all the frequencies here is 51. Okay. The median number of the points per player for the dataset B is less than the median number of the points per player for dataset A. Okay. So that means we have to compare the median. And in the second part, the mean number of the points per player for dataset A is less than the mean number of points per player for dataset B. Okay, A and B, sorry. So here we have to compare the mean. That means from this particular set, if that one new value is added, how that will affect the mean as well as the median? This is our question. Now let's come out the question and try to understand the concept. Let's say I have to calculate mean of 3 and 4 and 5, right? Now how will you do this? 3 plus 4 plus 5 by number of observations is 3. What formula we are using? Mean is equal to sum of all observations upon number of observations, right? So here mean is equal to this, and mean is 4. Now if you add a smaller observation to it, let's say I add 2, right? So data will become 3, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then mean will be equal to 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 by 2. Now not 2. How many observations are there now? 4 divided by 4, right? So now the sum is 14 by 4. So that is 3.5. Now from here, we can see a pattern or an observation or whatever name you want to give to it, that if we add a number to the observation, which is smallest of all, our mean decreases, right? So this new mean, let's say this is x1, is less than the initial mean. Okay. Now if I see the second one, the mean number of the points per player for data B less is than A. Yes, because the number is less. So second is true. Now let's check for the first. The number of observations are 50 and 51. Now we have to do the basic concept for it. If you have to do the basic concept of median, right? If number of observations is odd, right? So here what is n? Number of observations is 51. Then the formula for median is n plus 1 by 2th observation. So what is n 51? 51 plus 1, 52 by 2th observation. That means 26th observation. That is for dataset B. Dataset B, because we have added 1 to it. Now if I go with dataset A, right, then because here we have to calculate the median where number of observations are even, which is 50. In that case, when the number of observations are even, we use the formula n by 2th plus n by 2 plus 1th observation, mean of these two observations. Just see, here I've written n plus 1 whole, right, over 2. Here n is over 2 and then 1 is added. So n by 2th, that means 25th. And n by 2, that means 25th plus 1, 26th observation divided by 2. Now if I go back to the data, 25th and 26th observation, we don't know, right? 25th and 26th are somewhere here. We are not sure that they are, because equal or not equal. We cannot find this with the help of histogram. If the 25th and the 26th observation are equal, right? Anyways, it will be the 26th itself. So here in that case, they are same. If they are not equal, their median will not be same. So here we do not have the complete information from the data set that they will be equal or they will not be equal. So that is for sure, we cannot justify this point, right? So that means only second is the observation. Now I will leave a question for you. What do you think? If the observations are not equal, then this median will be less than this or greater than this. This is DIY for you. If 25th observation is not equal to 26th observation, what do you think median of B will be greater than median of A, or median of B will be smaller than median of A? They are not showing this data, so we have solved our question. But yes, we have to learn this concept too, right? Question number 26. This question has a lot of information. So whenever a question has a lot of information, our first job should be to break this information into smaller parts so that we can understand it better, right? Okay. So first, here is a triangle XYZ and the measure of angle is 90 degree. So we are talking about a triangle, right triangle. So let's this bigger triangle be XYZ. This is X, this angle is 90 degree. And let's say this is Y and this is Z. Point W lies on the line segment YZ and segment YX is perpendicular to YZ. So point Y lies on YZ. That means somewhere here. And WX, that means this one, is perpendicular to YZ. This one. This angle is 90 degree. Now we have three triangles. This smaller one, and the actual bigger one. Let's say what we can do from these. The length of the segment YW is 572. YW, this much. From here to here, this is 572. And the length of the segment WX, this one, middle one, is 429. Okay. What is the value of tan Z? We have to find this. Now, if I have to find tan Z, so what is tan? Tan is opposite over hypotenuse, right? Okay. So that means if I take the whole triangle, this whole triangle, and C is considered, then this will be opposite. We don't know this. And this will be adjacent. We don't know this either, right? Now that means direct values are not given to us. We have to do something smart. Let's say what we can do, because I have drawn a small triangle. Purpose behind this is because in this triangle values are given to me, right? These two values are given to me, 572 and 421. So the first idea I am getting from here, Why not take this one, this small triangle? And because tan z is asked, why not take one full triangle? So I'll try to prove them similar. Let's try that. So here, triangle x, y, z, and here I am taking triangle y, x, w, y, x, and w, taking these two triangles. Now if you see this whole big triangle, angle x is 90°. And if you see this smaller one, according to the information, angle w is 90°. Let's say reason 90° because these both are equal. Now if you see both these triangles, this angle y is common in both, right? So because this is part of both the triangles, that will be equal. Angle y is equal to angle y, which is common. Now we are using AA similarity because two angles are equal. Now here is a very important point, how to write the similarity. So first triangle, it is similar to another triangle by AA similarity, similar to others triangle. So here W is 90°, here X is 90°. So they should be placed at the right exact, for example, if it is at the first place, it will be at the first place too. Y is equal to y, and in both the triangles it's at the second place, because placing is very important, how you are writing the similarity. It can make the question or it can break the question. Now what is the third left here? X. And what is the third left here? Z. These triangles are similar. Okay. Now I will write ratios. Once similarity is written, this is a similarity, right? So first step, choosing the two triangles. Second step, what angles we can make equal to make them similar. Third step, how to write the similarity. Fourth step is, now we will write the ratios. So, okay, let's write wy first two of this over first two of this is equal to last two of first triangle over last two of second triangle is equal to alternate of first over alternate of second. Okay, now leave it here. Let's come to third part, and so change the color. Tan C, because angle C is equal to, have I made some mistake? No, here is a similarity. See, I am making the mistake. This is just the name of triangles. Here is the similarity. We have to check from here. So angle C is equal to angle X of this triangle. So that means tan C of triangle XYZ will be equal to tan X of triangle WYX, because these two triangles are similar. Again, that is a very important turning point. Okay, that means we are going right because in this triangle we have measurements. Now let's see what tan X is. If this is the angle, so this side is going to be opposite and this side is going to be adjacent, right? So that means tan Z is going to be 572 over 429. 572 over 429. Okay, so that will be 4 by 3, right? Smart question. Just teaching us, if lot of information is given, how to break it first and which informations are good for that question. Checking that is again the second smart step. So, okay, good question. I hope you get it. Question number 27th, an area of 46 square nautical miles is equal to k square kilometers. To the nearest tenth, what is the value of k? So this is a question of simple unit conversion. Let's say how this works. Leave it here. Let's start with a simple unit. Say I say 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeter, right? Then if I have to square it, then 1 meter squared will it be equal to 100 centimeter whole squared. That means 100 will be squared and this centimeter will be squared. And if you have to do the cube, right, that will be equal to 100 centimeter whole cubed. That means this 100 is cubed as well as centimeter is cubed, right? Now we will apply the same concept here, but with the given units. So if 1 nautical mile is equal to 1.852 kilometers, then 1 nautical mile squared will be equal to 1.852, that will be squared, as well as kilometer will be squared, right? This is our question is. So let's use calculator. That will be 3.43. Let's use this much only. And so 46 nautical miles squared will be equal to, you have to multiply by 46 on both sides, and because you have to round it off, it will be 157.8, right? So in this question particularly, you have to understand how unit conversions work if you are squaring them or if you are taking the cube of them. Now this is the last question of bundle 11 module 2, and you must have seen, every question of this one is kind of checking more of, or it's of higher difficulty level. So every question is just like a challenge here. So just revise the whole thing very carefully twice or thrice. And if you think you need the whole PDF of this, like this is a complete PDF where I have solved the questions. So if you need the whole PDF, just give me the comment, share the email ID, and I'll share the whole PDF of answers with you so that when you are practicing, you can have the solutions, the whole solution set in front of you. Okay. Also, I would suggest maybe every time this unit conversion is not given to you as it's here. So just learn basic units. Yeah, in SAT, like it's most of the times it's given, but or memorizing or remembering is always a good idea, I think. So let's conclude this bundle.